Chapter 55, Farm 10. While happily picking up stones, Jiang Ran occasionally encountered a couple of large flesh-eating bugs. However, these bugs seemed to be afraid of the luminous stone insects, so they stayed quietly in a corner of the greenhouse, munching on green leaves. During the process of picking up stones, Jiang Ran noticed a hole under the glass door leading to shed 17, just big enough for a luminous stone insect to pass through. A larger, darker-colored luminous stone insect, with a relatively bigger body, was blocking the hole with its large rear end. The smaller luminous stone insects gathered in front of the hole, and when the bug blocking it moved away after a certain number of them gathered, the rest of the insects would pass through. Meanwhile, another type of smaller luminous stone insect would absorb the escaping mist. The stones they expelled were the ones Jiang Ran was currently picking up. Oh my god! Seeing the stones expelled by the smaller luminous stone insects, Jiang Ran felt a bit existential crisis. Who would have thought that luminous stones were actually the excretions of these smaller insects? After absorbing mist, it felt uncomfortable. Looking at the dry and hard excrement stones in her hand, Jiang Ran felt conflicted. But after some consideration, she thought, people drink cat poop coffee, and whale excrement is used as high-end spice, so why can't she absorb bug excrement as long as it makes her stronger? Excrement is excrement, she won't complain. After building up her mental fortitude, Jiang Ran continued picking up the excrement stones from the ground. After observing for a while, the swarm seemed to realize what she wanted. The luminous stone insects in the planting area lined up and brought chunks of gray-white excrement stones to her, piling them about half a meter away from her. The nearby luminous stone insects even made a rustling sound, seemingly reminding Jiang Ran to pick up the excrement. Some of the smaller luminous stone insects even crawled to the side of the stone pile to defecate. Jiang Ran. Did the swarm mistake her for a janitor for excrement? Watching the pile of stones gradually grow, Jiang Ran simply waited in place until the pile became big enough, then she stored them into her storage space. Feeling the disappearance of the pile of excrement stones, the nearby luminous stone insects touched their antennae together, and the rest of the insects worked even faster, bringing more stones in front of Jiang Ran. Some of the stones had been dug from the soil, which meant that the luminous stone insects in the planting area were probably burying their excrement. She collected 3 times in a row, and the gray stones in the greenhouse were almost gone. Jiang Ran retreated towards shed 15. Her pace was slow, as she needed to be careful not to step on any insect eggs, otherwise, the swarm would converge on her. This time, it had become a dance of her taking a step back and the swarm moving forward. When she reached the glass door side, a relatively larger luminous stone insect, about 2 or 3 times the size of the others, crawled over. It was dragging a piece of black, semi-transparent stone about 4 fingers wide and placed it about half a meter away from Jiang Ran. Its antennae kept moving, emitting a rustling sound. This sound was the same as the one the swarm made when Jiang Ran was picking up stones. Looking at the stone on the ground, Jiang Ran saw it for the first time as well. With the thought of not letting anything go to waste, she picked up the stone and stored it in her storage space. Then, she turned around and ran back to the aisle. As the glass door slowly closed, the antennae of the luminous stone insects on the swarm moved, and they quickly dispersed. After observing for a while, Jiang Ran noticed that the swarm had become more active, and their movements in and out of the mist had clearly sped up. Her mission had finally been accomplished, and she felt a lot more relaxed. Looking at the star-studded night sky, with the moon obscured and the wind strong, it was the perfect time to escape. Jiang Ran was ready to slip away. As soon as she returned to shed 15, she heard a series of muffled impact sounds that came one after another. The sounds were very loud, as if the next moment the glass would shatter and something would burst out of the thick fog. Jiang Ran stopped in her tracks and assessed the direction of the sound. It seemed to be coming from shed 5. She quickly turned around and headed in the opposite direction. Perhaps it was better to escape first. Luck couldn't be good forever. In just a couple of steps, she reached the glass wall on the side without sheds and observed the situation outside. Then she retreated back inside. About 3 to 4 meters away outside, the farm guards had surrounded the greenhouse. The barrels of their guns were aimed straight at the greenhouse. Seeing the guards outside, Jiang Ran couldn't help but curse under her breath. This damn farm was never planning to let them escape alive. Rao Meng and the others also joined Jiang Ran in retreating from shed 3. Seeing Jiang Ran running towards shed 8, Guo Yu asked, "Jiang Ran, how's the situation over there? Did you find a way out?" "Bullshit, there's no way out. The guards have already surrounded the farm," Jiang Ran said in frustration. It seemed that this damn farm had no intention of letting them leave alive. Rao Meng was also upset. "When we tried to return to shed 4 earlier, we thought we could get out through the entrance we came in, but those bastards just stood there and watched us try to break the door." As they spoke, the group had already reached shed 7. The impact sounds from behind were growing even more intense. Watching the slowly closing door, the tension among the group grew. If the things in the mist didn't find their direction, they were in big trouble. With a loud cracking sound, the glass finally shattered, and the mist began to spread into the other sheds and outside.